The rain pelted his broken roof, seeping through cracks like all the disappointments life had thrown at him. Struggling single dad Noah Hayes never expected a knock that night. A frantic knock from a barefoot 20-year-old mother clutching two crying babies, shivering and soaked. She didn't beg. She just whispered, "Please, just let my babies stay dry." He didn't ask her name. He just opened the door. What he didn't know was that this one act of kindness would shatter everything he thought he knew about broken people, redemption, and miracles. Let's begin. It wasn't just the thunder that made Noah's heart pound that night. It was the silence that followed it. A silence too heavy for a place where a child should be laughing. His 7-year-old son, Caleb, had already gone to bed after eating canned ravioli for the third time that week. The power had flickered twice. The leaky ceiling in the hallway now had a bowl under it, catching the rhythm of dripping sorrow. Life in small-town Kentucky had become a tightrope walk over despair for Noah Hayes. Then came the knock. 3 urgent, desperate bangs. Noah moved toward the door, warily glancing at the kitchen knife still on the counter from dinner. He wasn't used to visitors after 10 p.m., especially not in a neighborhood where neighbors barely had enough to help themselves, let alone others. But something in that knock wasn't dangerous. It was broken. When he opened the door, the wind nearly tore it from its hinges. Standing on the porch was a girl. No, a woman, but barely. She couldn't have been older than 20. Her hoodie clung to her body, drenched and sagging. Her arms shook as she clutched 2 toddlers. Babies, really, maybe just a year old. Both wrapped in thin receiving blankets, soaked through, their lips trembling. "I'm sorry," she said quickly, voice cracking with the cold and something deeper. "Please, I'm not asking for me. Just my babies. They haven't eaten since yesterday morning. We just need a few hours somewhere warm. Please." Noah blinked. No dramatic music. No angelic light. Just a soaked porch and 3 souls about to collapse. He opened the door wider. "Get in," he said simply. "Now." She stepped inside, shoes squishing. The babies whimpered louder. One of them coughed, sharp and wheezing. Noah shut the door, locked it behind her, and ran to grab blankets. "Bathroom's down the hall. Towels are under the sink. Dry them off. I'll make some oatmeal." She didn't question. She moved fast. The kettle boiled. He stirred instant oats. Caleb wandered out, rubbing his eyes. "Daddy," he whispered. "Who's that?" Noah knelt. Someone who needed help. Caleb looked at the hall, then back at his dad. "Are the babies okay?" "They will be," Noah whispered, unsure if it was a promise or a prayer. When the woman returned, her eyes had lost some of the fog. The twins, chubby-faced girls with matching moon-round eyes, sat in her lap wrapped in old towels. She hadn't even dried her own hair. "I'm Noah," he said, gently placing a bowl of oatmeal in front of her. She hesitated. Then Ava. "My name's Ava." The living room smelled like cinnamon from the oatmeal and damp fabric from their clothes drying on chairs. Ava sat on the edge of the old couch, spooning the warm mush into her daughter's mouths like it was gold. Her hand shook less now, but not from cold, from something buried deeper. Fear? Shame? Noah wasn't sure yet. Noah set a folded blanket on the coffee table. "That's all I've got for now. You can take the couch. I'll sleep on the floor." Ava didn't look up. "You don't have to. Don't argue. The twins need somewhere soft." One of the girls reached up and grabbed Noah's sleeve, babbling. He smiled. "What's her name?" Ava exhaled, her voice soft. "That's Mia. The one passed out is Lily. Pretty names." Caleb yawned from the hallway. "Can we keep them?" he asked, half asleep, rubbing his eyes. Ava laughed, a short, breathy sound that cracked with exhaustion and disbelief. Noah just smiled and whispered, "We'll see, buddy." That night, long after the kids had fallen asleep, Ava stayed awake on the couch, staring at the ceiling, as if listening for ghosts. Noah didn't push her. He made her tea and left her alone. But in the early morning, as the sun cast gray light across the peeling floorboards, she whispered, "He sold us." Noah looked up from the kitchen table. "What?" She didn't cry. Her eyes were dry, dead, as if she'd already drowned. "My husband," she said, voice low, empty. "He owed people. Gambling, mostly. Some other things. I thought he was getting clean, going to work. He wasn't. 2 days ago, he told me he found someone to take care of us. I thought maybe it was rehab or a shelter. But he took us to a house, out past county lines, and told me to go inside. Her hands clenched. There were 3 men. One of them tried to take Mia from me. I fought back. I grabbed both girls and ran. I don't even remember how far I ran. I saw the light in your shed. And I knocked. Noah's stomach turned. Not out of pity, out of rage. Did you call the police? She shook her head. He knows people. He said if I ever said a word, they'd find me. Take my girls. Maybe worse. Silence hung between them. Then Noah said something she didn't expect. You're safe here. She met his eyes for the first time, and for a split second, Ava looked like a kid herself, too young to carry this much pain. I don't know why I'm even trusting you, she whispered. But thank you. Noah sat across from her, arms folded. Because sometimes, he said, you don't get a second chance. And sometimes, somebody else is your second chance. That morning, Noah made extra eggs with toast, something he hadn't done in weeks. Caleb helped feed the twins while Ava, still unsure of her place, offered to wash dishes. You're a guest, Noah said. No, Ava said. I'm not. I'm just someone passing through. He looked at her firmly. Then while you're passing through, you don't lift a finger unless you want to. She blinked, like that kindness hurt more than cruelty. But in the shadows of her mind, one truth burned brighter than fear. She knocked on a door, expecting rejection. Instead, she found someone who didn't look away. And deep inside, Noah couldn't explain it, but something about Ava's presence felt less like a disruption, and more like something he'd been unknowingly waiting for. Over the next few days, the rhythm of the Hayes household shifted. Ava, still wary, woke up early and helped Noah pack Caleb's lunch for school. She swept the floor before he could tell her not to. She started folding their laundry. Noah didn't argue. He understood what it meant. When someone's been stripped of their dignity, the smallest chores feel like armor. Caleb, on the other hand, was already attached to the twins. He called them his baby sisters and made silly faces just to hear them giggle. Their laughter began echoing through the house like sunlight chasing shadows. One afternoon, as Noah returned from the garage where he fixed up old motorcycles for cash, he found Ava sitting on the porch. The twins were asleep inside. She was staring at her hands, at the faint bruises on her wrists that hadn't completely faded. You okay? He asked, handing her cold soda. She took it with a nod, still quiet. I'm not scared of him anymore, she said suddenly. Noah didn't reply. But I'm scared of what I'll become if I stay scared, she added, her voice low. I used to believe in love, in family, in promises. But he broke things in me I didn't even know could be broken. Noah leaned against the porch rail. My ex did a number on me too, he said. She left when Caleb was 5. Told me she was going to the store. Never came back. We were barely scraping by. But I was trying. Guess she didn't want to live poor anymore. Did you hate her? Some days. But mostly I hated myself. For not being enough. For not seeing it coming. Ava looked at him like she'd never had a conversation that honest with a man before. Noah continued. But I've learned something. The people who hurt us, they don't carry our pain. We do. So we can either carry it like a dead weight or use it to build something stronger. Tears pooled in her eyes, but she blinked them back. That night, Ava stayed up late, sewing the tear in Caleb's old backpack. No one noticed. He didn't say anything. Instead, the next morning, he found her with Lily in her arms, feeding her with a spoon, smiling. The kind of smile that didn't reach her eyes yet, but it was trying. By week 2, the question started. Who's the new girl? You got a new girlfriend, Noah. You hiding a whole family we didn't know about. Noah brushed them off. Ava stayed out of sight when strangers stopped by, afraid that one wrong face might be someone her ex sent. But she wasn't just hiding from him. She was hiding from herself too. That changed the day Noah got a visit from a local deputy. We found her husband's car burned out near the lake, he said grimly. No body. No sign of him. But someone spotted a woman with twins near a rest stop a few towns over. Your neighbor thought maybe. Noah didn't confirm or deny. You think she's dangerous? The officer shook his head. I think whoever was chasing her is. That night, Noah told Ava everything. Instead of panicking, she went still. And then she did something unexpected. She walked to the crib, kissed both girls, then turned to Noah. I don't want to keep running. Noah looked her straight in the eyes. Then don't. Her lip trembled. But if he comes here, if he hurts you or Caleb, I've survived worse than him, Noah said. And Ava, for the first time, believed that maybe she could too. It was a Wednesday when the quiet broke. The kind of dusky evening where the sky bleeds gold and lavender, and the air feels too still, like the earth itself is holding its breath. Ava stood barefoot on the porch, her eyes following the swing of Caleb and the twins playing in the yard. They had dragged out a tattered quilt, their giggles rising like birdsong, a sharp contrast to the storm quietly brewing within her. For days now, she'd felt it, something shifting, a presence lurking just outside of comfort's reach. Even though Noah tried to shield her with calm words and routine, she saw it in his eyes too. He was waiting, preparing, just in case. Noah came home later than usual that night, grease-stained and quiet. He didn't say much as he set a worn duffel on the kitchen counter. Ava peeked inside when he went to shower. Flashlight, extra diapers, a bag of Caleb's clothes, a roll of cash. Ava's throat tightened. He wasn't packing to run. He was packing to protect. She sat at the kitchen table long after everyone had gone to bed, tracing the rim of her mug with a fingertip, until the porch light flickered. A glitch? Maybe. Or maybe her gut was right. She stepped outside. The driveway was empty, the stars barely visible. But then she saw it, down the dirt road. Headlights. Low. Rolling slow like a snake hunting in tall grass. She moved fast, locked the door, grabbed Noah's phone, ran upstairs and woke him with 3 words. He's here. Outside. Noah didn't ask questions. He was already halfway down the stairs, shirtless, heart pounding. Ava stood frozen near the twins' crib, trembling, but not from fear. Not anymore. From rage. How dare he? How dare he sell her, sell his children, disappear into the night, and now come creeping back like a wolf. The car stopped. A single door creaked open. Noah opened the window and peered out through the blinds. There he was. Dominic. Leather jacket. Slick back hair. A crooked smirk. Like evil pretending it wore charm. Noah's voice was tight. Stay upstairs. If I don't come back, call Deputy Riley. Ava stepped in front of him, eyes burning. You're not going out there alone. Ava. You said I was safe here, she snapped. Then don't leave me in the dark. He stared at her. This girl who walked into his life a shadow, and now stood like a storm, and something in him shifted. Respect. Admiration. Maybe even more than that. They walked out together. Dominic leaned against the hood of the car, arms crossed. Well, the mechanic and the maid, he sneered. Didn't expect my girls to end up in a dump like this. Ava stood still. I'm not yours, she said calmly. And they never were. Legally, you're still my wife. You sold us. That makes you nothing. He chuckled, stepping closer, but Noah moved between them. Dominic's eyes narrowed. You gonna be a hero, he said. You really think you can keep her safe from people like me? I don't think, Noah said coldly. I know. Dominic's hand twitched. Ava's voice rose sharp. If you touch him, I'll scream loud enough to wake the dead. And if I go down, I'm taking every dirty secret of yours to the cops. You think your buddies will protect you when they find out you left 3 babies to die in a motel room for cash? Silence. Noah stepped forward. Leave, before you lose more than your pride. Dominic looked between them, saw the fire, realized she was no longer afraid. That the girl who once flinched at his footsteps now stared him down with steady hands. He spat near the tire. This isn't over. But was. Because he got in the car and drove off. And Ava never looked back. That night, Noah sat on the back steps. The moon hung low, and the air smelled of wet earth and peace. Ava came out, wrapped in a sweater too big for her, and sat beside him. She said nothing for a long time. Then finally, you didn't have to do that. You could have gotten hurt. He turned to her, voice soft. I didn't have to. I wanted to. Silence stretched again. I don't know who I am without fear, Ava admitted. You're becoming who you were always meant to be. She looked at him then. Really looked. And for the first time, Noah didn't see someone broken. He saw someone rebuilding, piece by painful piece. 2 months later, the house didn't look the same, and neither did they. The floorboards had been re-nailed. The leaking ceiling patched with spare panels Noah picked up on discount. The yard now had a tiny sandbox, some thrifted plastic toys, and a picnic table where Ava liked to sit and write. Her face had color again. Her eyes no longer darted to the door every time a car passed. But the biggest changes weren't outside. They were inside them. Caleb called Ava Mommy Ava now, naturally, not by force. Mia and Lily squealed when Noah walked into the room like he was their favorite superhero. At dinner, they sat like a real family. The kind built not by blood, but by choice. Noah had stopped sleeping with one eye open. Ava had stopped apologizing just for existing. She'd started working part-time at the local cafe, using a fake name until her papers were sorted. She told her story anonymously to a women's shelter newsletter. Her words shook the town. Women started calling, sharing, healing. Then one afternoon, Noah came home with a folded newspaper. He set it in front of her without a word. Dominic Rowe, fugitive husband caught in sting operation, arrested for human trafficking, attempted sale of spouse and minors. She stared at it. Her hands trembled, but no tears came. Justice, she whispered. Noah crouched beside her. You did that. By surviving. Her voice broke. No, we did. Weeks passed. Ava's paycheck wasn't big, but she insisted on helping. She bought Caleb a secondhand bike and cried when he hugged her and said, "You're the best mom ever." Noah barely held it together when she said softly, "Can we all be a family?" Officially, he had no fancy proposal, no ring, just a small backyard, the laughter of kids, and a quiet truth in his heart. He loved her. So he stood in that kitchen, with cereal bowls still in the sink, and said, "Let's stop surviving. Let's start living. Together." Ava nodded. Yes. 1,000 times yes. Their wedding wasn't in a church. It was under the oak tree behind the shed. The same shed Ava had knocked on that stormy night, holding her children with shaking arms. The twins wore white dresses with tiny daisies. Caleb was the ring bearer. The neighbors cried. Even the judge officiating wiped away a tear. Noah whispered as he slid the ring on her finger, "You didn't ruin my life. You rebuilt it." She kissed him like she was taking her first real breath in years. And then came the biggest miracle. Not one you'd see on headlines. Not a lottery or a mansion, but a knock on their front door. This time, it was a clean-cut man in a press suit. He introduced himself as a lawyer, representing a woman named Eloise Hartley, a recluse, a philanthropist, and a former cafe customer who'd once watched Ava feed a homeless man from her own tips. "She passed away last week," the man said. "Left a note," she said, and I quote, "Give it to the girl with fire in her eyes and twins on her hip." He handed Ava a sealed envelope. Inside it, a check, $1 million. Noah blinked. Ava gasped. The letter simply said, "You reminded me that love is real. Use this to build a life you thought you'd never have." They didn't buy 10 cars. They bought a modest brick house with a fenced-in yard and a garden for the girls. Noah opened a garage and hired 2 young men trying to stay off the streets. Ava started a shelter program for young mothers escaping abuse. They named it Second Door, and every time someone knocked on it, she opened it without hesitation, because once upon a time, someone had done the same for her.